Look at that conglomeration of monstrosityness. Is that even a word, monstrosityness? All right, guys, Monday, episode 21 starting up. First one here this morning. Stopped at Dunkin' Donuts, got coffee for everybody. Open the shop up, turn the compressors on. Boom. Gonna make it work this week. I hope you enjoyed episode 20. Sorry if it was a little long. I had like 3 hours of footage and edited it down to about an hour and 2 minutes, I think it was. I try to keep around 30 or 40 minutes. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't watch the whole video and they just skip right through it and watch 10 or 15, 20 minutes of it. But I thought it was a pretty interesting week and there was a lot of good content that I didn't want to cut out. So I just kind of left it a little bit long. So hope that was okay for you guys. Let me know and I'll just cut some of the cars out to make it a little shorter if I have to. Anyway, see what happens this week. It looks like it's starting to slow down. Shops got a little slow last week. Didn't even hit 40 hours. Of course, doing half price alignments doesn't help. Let's get this fired up. Yeah, in Central Florida, you do the iced coffee till about mid-October. Then you switch back to hot. 2010 Hyundai Accent. Customer requests an alternator. It's only got 68,000 miles on it, but I mean, you know, this is an economy car when they don't even put silver trim on any of the interior plastic. They don't even plate the Hyundai emblem in the steering wheel. That's how you know you got an economy car. 2 hours labor for the alternator, but we're not supposed to check it. Customer knows best, so that's what we do. Follow customers' rules. Look at that thing. Whew. That is one alternator. Charging and everything. Oh, what the heck? Oh, okay, the connection's not that great. There it is. 14.4. It's gonna be like a brand new car. Look, they put chrome on that one. Sweet. Toyota Yaris. Got a customer says one of my lights on the dash is on. I cleared the codes already though. It's just a TPMS light. Although it has an airbag code and a rough idle P1601 code. They're in history. They're not current. But it has a bad TPMS sensor in the right rear. I went around with the TPMS tool real quick. The tires are dry rotted too, so I'm going to recommend 4 tires. And I got to go road test the Expedition. That one's running. Check all the fluids. I always do that with a car that comes in not running when I get it running. Cars like that tend to be neglected. They get a little older. The oil is actually almost a quart over full. But I always like to at least take a look. I hate to work on a car and send it down the road and then, you know, 3 or 4 days later they give you a call and say the engine locked up, there's no oil in the engine. Did you guys check my oil while I had it there? That can happen. So I always take a look. Pretty easy. It only takes a second. Alright. Got to check this bad Johnny for a no start. No crank. Dead battery. Of course it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. Nothing stock. It's all been repaintulated and customized and stuff. It was the woman who owns it. It was her husband's car. He passed away, so she's gonna get it running and sell it, I guess. Pretty decent car. The B&M shifters, custom upholstered, fire extinguisher in case some of the wiring ends up letting go. Custom door panels and handles and stuff, all billet aluminum, probably Chinese stuff. You can buy some of this stuff pretty cheap. There are nice versions and there are cheap versions. You don't know what you get. The Bondo must be pretty heavy on it, where the paint rubs where the door closes and stuff. I wouldn't mind having it. Pretty solid little car. She's gonna sell it, I'm sure. She thinks it's worth 70 grand or 50 grand or something like that. Probably a $25,000 car. Put on eBay for $59,900. And find out why it doesn't run. The battery's stone dead. I think the battery's no good. It's been sitting a while. Let's see where the battery's at now. Stop. It's been charging for like 2 hours. Voltage is dropping down quite a bit already. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna pop a battery in it just to test it further and see what's going on with it. I don't care for these wheels on this car. They don't really fit it. Should have some steelies, like some black wheels with, or even white wheels or something with a silver trim ring and a silver moon cap. Customers got tie wraps holding their hubcaps on because hubcaps are expensive. So I figure at least I'll clean up the tie wraps. I put a TPMS sensor in this one. I already did these tie wraps. Let's go ahead and lock this last one in. Boom. Safe as can be. Program us a TPMS system. Last one. Connect that OBD2 cable. Right down here. Connect it up to this monstrosity. Wait a second now. Don't piss me off. Connecting. Oh, connecting. Connected. Connecting. Connected. Transferring. Transferring. Bink, bank, bank, bink, bink. Like at the end, even if it works, it says transfer error. Transfer failure. Okay. Try it one more time just to make sure it works. You know what I'll do? I'll turn the key off and back on. See if my TPMS light goes out. It's blinking. Dang it. These things are so finicky. Okay, connecting. Yep, my TPMS light went out. Failure, connected, connecting, transferring data, some transferring data. Okay, okay, okay. Must do them one at a time. That's what I think you're watching. And now I turn the key off. We'll wait 10 seconds. You can go by the key chime. When it rings 10 times, it's about 15 seconds. Okay. I'll take this thing for a little drive and see what happens. The old 39 Chevy. It's like there's no gas going to it, so I got him to call the customer, see how much time she wants to spend getting the fuel sample, checking to see if the fuel pump's got a hidden toggle switch somewhere, and all that kind of cool stuff. Usually have to go over about 8 miles an hour and the TPMS batteries will trigger. It'd already be triggered since I triggered them doing the TPMS relearn. Now it's mad about my seatbelt. People are so dumb. I mean, these TPMS systems are because people are dumb and don't check their tires. Seatbelt warning because people are dumb, they don't put their seatbelt on. Think about how many things are annoying to those of us who pay attention. Anyway, all right. Ta-da! See, like magic. It says it didn't work. It says it didn't work. The light's flashing. It's all mad. Took it for a quick drive. Came back, shut it off for 10 seconds. Started back up. The light's out. I bet you if you use the manufacturer's scan tool and pay thousands of dollars a year for a subscription, that it would work without a hitch or a glitch or a tick, and it would be a piece of cake. But since you're using aftermarket stuff, the manufacturers have to allow you to do it, but they don't have to make it easy. Much like warranty, labor times, and things like that, and trying to reach those targets. And they wonder why everybody rushes. Well, gas is not supposed to look like that. So we're going to drain the tank, take the fuel out, and put new fuel in, and then it'll be good to go. Lots of chrome stuff. Chrome rear end, chrome mufflers, chrome pipes, chrome training mount, chrome pan, chrome lower arms, chrome tubular arms. Got an adapter for the 9-inch to put chrome tubular arms on the top. Chrome gas tank. Draining the bad gas out of it. See if we can get it to fire up with some fresh gas. Could do an EV conversion on this thing. Throw one of them flammable lithium batteries in it. See what happens. Alright, just kidding. It lives! Hasn't run in 2 or 3 years. You see. Get in, sit down, shut up, and hold on. Sons of bitches. Got a big old cam or it's running really rich. One of the two. I think it's running rich. The carburetor is probably gummed up and sticky. Flooding a little bit. Alright. Tipham's in this bad boy. I'm gonna check and make sure. Usually turn the key on, wait about 30 seconds, turn the key off and back on again. And that should learn the VIN to the Tipham. So I gotta look for I gotta check the VIN, make sure it's got a 564 VIN. 564, boom. So it's already learned the VIN, everyone wins. Check engine lights out, let's see how it goes into gear. Oh, that's nice. When it was in limp mode and not getting power to the transmission control solenoids, you'd put it in reverse, it would go BAM! And when you drove it, it would take off in second and act real weird, shift real weird. Alright, now on this wonderful Chrysler product, apparently the configuration isn't set automatically. So the SDA RV and the VES2 says not set. And I'm getting an airbag light with a UO151 communication code. So we're going to go through this procedure. Add. right. See how long that takes. So far we're going on about 30 seconds. And then I got to do the other module, the other setting. Okay, cycle the key off. Probably about, give it about 10 seconds. This key chimes fast, so 20 chimes is 10 seconds. 17, 18, 19, 20. Now this one, continue. Comunicado, about 30 seconds. Okay. Set, set, set. That's what we want to see. Turn the key off. Airbag light still on. All right, we're gonna battle. Get ready to go to war. Health report. This is gonna take a minute. To be continued. They're all good. Yep. All right, I won't forget it. Let's see if we have a airbag existent. This thing has an IOD fuse, 60 amp fuse, which I'd be surprised if it's not in the TIPM, but that could also cause an airbag communication code apparently. I'm gonna run out and check that real quick. I haven't looked at that yet. I have my airbag issue on this Chrysler van, this yellow tab. There's a fuse underneath it for the airbag module. So you gotta push it in. I guess some countries don't have airbags, so that fuse is out. So now I got no airbag light. It's about damn time. No more airbag light, but I do still have my TPMS light. And that's saying low air pressure. Tire pressure light, which I checked the tire pressure. And button this thing up, check the transmission fluid and the engine oil. Maybe after a drive that light will go out, but she didn't even ask about that. She asked about her oil temperature. This is the one from last week. She wanted to know why her oil temperature light was on and it was driving funny. Take her for a drive. Look at that. TPMS light went out. All I had to do is go 20 miles an hour for 30 seconds. Activate the sensors. Then they realized that the air pressure was corrected and they put the light out. I had to push the yellow tab in on the new TIPM. Almost done with my road test. All my lights are out, transmission shifting good. Got some good music on the radio. Boom. Let's call this one done. Got a heck of a storm rolling in today. Typical afternoon showers. July, August, and September here in Central Florida. But it looks exceptionally dark down there in the distance. Probably gonna get pretty nasty. About time they cut the dang grass. Uh-oh. We're piling up Nissans, Hyundais, and Kias out, y'all. Well, you got another Jeep. Mitsubishi hasn't left yet. What else we got? Alright, they're coming to get the Mazda truck. They're going to sell her on Craigslist for $20,000, $30,000, something like that. We'll see what happens. Got good tire pressure, no lights on, ran good on a road test. This one's done. Alrighty, just climbed my way into a 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 85,900 miles and a check engine light on. So I grabbed Mr. Snappy. We're gonna see what code it's got. I'm gonna put my money on PO446. 9 out of the last 10 Jeep and Chrysler products I've worked on had EVAP code 446. 15, not 16. 3.6 liter powerhouse. This doesn't, you know, Eric O on South Main Auto talked about a Corvette that had the power of a minivan. That's what the Jeep Grand Cherokee has, exactly the same exact engine as a minivan. Anyway, display fitted systems lists. All right, let's do that. Let's code scan everything before you have made repairs. Yes, I have not made repairs. EVAP system failure. You see that? I don't know who bet me here, but I do recall saying I was gonna put money on it that it was an EVAP. I did say PO446 though, so I was off by 6 numerators. PO440 EVAP system failure. So now, since it's a Chrysler Jeep product, I have to figure out if it has a bad TIPM or a bad EVAP canister. TIPMs don't normally cause EVAP codes, but I've done so many of them the past couple months that that last car, that Caravan, they said it wasn't going to be available till November, and then they suddenly found one. So next thing you know, we got it today instead of having to wait till November. That lady didn't want to drive that car like that, and I don't blame her because it might have hurt that transmission. All right, let's see what we got. We got codes in nothing except no codes in anything other than my PO440. Oh, they want me to pay money for that. Okay, I'll go into engine. I'll go into codes. General EVAP system failure. Yep, same code. Okay, that's good. Getting somewhere. We can do a system test, and we can do an EVAP monitor test. This allows a technician to run medium, large leak, and loose cap monitor test. Okay, it doesn't run as... Well, let's do it. It's not a... The engine must not be running. Push button start. Just don't touch the brake. You're golden. Start engine. Oh. It said the engine must not be running, and it tells me to start the engine. Make up your mind. It's all very confusing. EVAP test in progress. Weather is picking up out there. Can you see that? Trees are whipping. Purge 25%. Large leak test complete. No. I'm going to leave it on these 3 PIDs. I'm not going to make you guys sit with me this whole time. I'm going to let this run and see when this finishes if this says pass or fail, and I'll show you guys. EVAP monitor test completed. To review data, continue. Alright. I'm continuing. Large leak in progress, false. Large leak test complete, true. Large leak test failed, false. False. So that means this thing passes the large leak test, but it doesn't give me the ability to do a small leak test. The good news is it just has a general failure, PO440. So now that I know it won't fail a gross leak, I'll go inside and see what the PO440 normally is on these, and I'm going to guess it's some kind of a switch. Either a vent solenoid stakes, or these things have that stupid ESIM, I think it's called, valve. It switches between low and high and monitors the vent system and the purge system for leaks. Splits it into 2 systems, which is actually kind of good, except those little valves that stick all the time. The same people that make their TIPMs make their ESIM valves. Let's see what we find in Mr. Identifix. Now, I don't want to say nothing, but PO440, ESIM wiring, purge valve, canister vent valve, EVAP hose or line, pretty rare. Look at this. The ESIM assembly or wiring. 95 out of 115. Now we gotta test it and make sure, but guess what it's probably gonna be. Yeah. Just a little sprinkle. That's a bad deal. Guys got pop rivets on here and all kinds of dumb stuff. Alright, just got to hook up my scanner, bring up the data PID for the ESIM, blow into the vent tube, and the voltage should change from 4.5 volts or so. It should go towards 0, 2.5 volts, 4.5 volts, whatever it'll be at, and it should go towards 0. If it doesn't, then this is bad. This bad boy, give her a blow, you can hear it click. But if you look at the graph for ESIM data, it never moved the whole time I blew on it over and over again. So it's got a bad ESIM made by the TIPM folks. Let's see if I can show you with my neck light here. Boom. Look at that bad Johnny. A piece of junk. No changes. The switch should change state when I blow into it. Nothing. See if they want to sell it. Look at that thing. I'll pop this thing right in here right now before we close up for the day. It's got a little lock button. You got to press this little lock. There's a little lock spring. This little tab here, so you don't break anything. You got to kind of push this little tab in so that you can turn it 90 degrees and pop it out. Then we'll retest it, make sure it's working. Closing in on finished air, clearing 100%. Another second or two, it'll finalizing clearing. I want to clear them just in case that there's a problem with this vehicle, and shifter codes, frequency hub codes, 1 permanent trouble code. I'm going to go drive it, and then we'll see what happens with any pending codes, make sure that it's fixed. If I didn't fix it correctly, then it would tell me there's a pending code, and then the next time the customer comes to get it, the light's going to come on. That's one of the things people don't realize sometimes is most codes will take 2 trips. If it's not a hardcore misfire or something like that, if it's just an emissions code, it'll take 2 trips. So what happens is you think you fixed it, but you really haven't, and then you road test it once and you go, oh, no check engine light. But you have to go in and look for pending codes, because that'll tell you if the light's going to come on the customer next time. A lot of times we think we fixed it, we road test it, we give it back, and then the next day the light comes on for the customer because it takes 2 trips. So you always want to keep that in mind and look for pending codes before you deliver the car back to the customer. Time to road test the Jeep and fire up hump day. Oh, 60, I skipped right over the year. 68. 455, Buick Skylark. Oh, high performance Edelbrock intake on there. K&N imitation air filter. Nice. Pretty nice car. Got a little bit of rust. Got an old paint job chipping up. Looks like it used to be white. This guy's owned this thing since the 80s. This guy's owned this thing since the 80s. 89. Convertible GS400 Buick Skylark. Joe's putting an oil sending unit in it, fixing an oil leak. This is the kind of car you let customers bring their own parts on. Nissan Sentra no start. Put the old jump box on, fired it right up. After the alarm beeped for a while. What year is this monstrosity? 2011. Oh. Well, 91,000 miles, 2011. Red, white, and blue, baby. That's what I'm talking about. American. Whip up some dinner. Got everything you need right here. Got leftover Chick-fil-A. Got a money envelope. I'm just guessing there's cockroaches all over. I haven't seen any yet, but I'll be sure to capture them for you if I do. Remote don't seem to work. I had to take the key out, put it in there. The lock and unlock buttons don't work, so I'll see if this thing has a dead battery in it. It also had a dead car battery. I don't know the whole story. I haven't talked to Paul Harvey yet to see if this thing is been sitting a while or if it died on it going down the road. They just gave me the paperwork and said it doesn't start. Do a no start diagnosis, 1 hour. Good luck with the cockroaches. Some people, I don't know what their houses must look like. Maybe they're only messing with their cars because they don't care about their car. And you can see the clock reset. Check the charging system, check the battery, and check the key fob, and then we'll go from there. Nissan's got a leaking valve stem, so a valve stem it shall have. Gotta check to make sure the wheel's not corroded or something too. It looks alright. Definitely leaking. It's got a rip. Like when they towed it or something, they ripped it. I don't know why someone put that all the way down. Look at that. Easy peasy. Right on, got a leftover valve stem from the TPMS sensor yesterday. How do we use it? We'll use the right tool for the job. Don't try this at home, boys and girls. We don't do tires, so we don't have the correct tool. You got to make do with what you have. Boom. 35 PSI. This thing would be like a brand new truck. Boom. 35 PSI. That's what I'm talking about. Shut off the leak stopper. Drop my valve stem. Got to find that now. There it is. Pretty cramped area. If we did more tires, that wouldn't be acceptable. One lug missing. Bummer. Apparently we got a problem with a socket. Just wiggling the wiring in here. I can make the light blink. The old Nissan needs some sockets. The other one was the same way. I wiggled it and it got bright too. What's up, Birdie? How you doing? I know what you're looking for. Bill's feeding them. What are you throwing to the bird? Cookies? Is that good bird food?
Probably not, but...
Nuts and stuff. The bird's like, oh, this is like a smorgasbord of stuff I can't eat. He wants like a fish. Yeah. He's like, you got any fish? Ooh, look at that. Let's see what we got. Polycarbonate. Oh. Look at that son of a bitch. This car is going to be even faster now. This is a polished carburetor. It's going to be even faster. Hell yeah, that's another half a second and a quarter mile, bitches. Just so FYI, I'm putting a carb on this 39, but someone's got like thread sealer, Teflon tape or something on their fittings. But these aren't pipe threads, guys. This has a flare seat. This flare is where it seals in the fitting. The threads have nothing to do with the seal. If you use these threads to stop the leak, it means it's not tight enough or there's something damaged on the seat. So there's no point in using that. You take a risk on cracking things. Before you crank it over and fill the carburetor with gas, you always work the throttle all the way to max and back. Make sure it comes back to idle. And I'll even open the choke. Make sure it gets all the way up on the stop screw. And then it resets. Junkyard transmission. We love junkyard transmissions. We only have to replace 3 out of 5 of them. I'm going to adjust these fuel bowls so the gas is just at the very bottom of the fuel bowl. I always adjust the secondary a little lower, just in case. Rarely ever using them anyway, especially the older people that usually own these cars. They're not getting into secondaries very often. They don't want a lot of gas in the secondaries. Air bleed on both sides. Set that for best idle. You can hook up a vacuum gauge. I just listen to it. See, it starts running bad. Back it off so it's smooth. Then a quarter of a turn. All right. Figured out the problem with the brake pedal on this Reaper. Remember I showed you guys not too long ago. The customer said the brake pedal's staying down, but it wouldn't do it for me. But now it does it all the time. You push on the brake pedal, it stays down. Shut it off. Whoop! Got a bad brake booster. So we went ahead and ordered a brake booster last week. That just came in. Look at this thing, how tiny it is. Get out of there. It's a cute little brake booster. It's basically smaller than my hand. Cover with my hand. My chubby little hand covers that. It's like a cheese wheel. Tiny little brake booster. Just gotta put it in there. See if we can do it. I'm gonna try to see if I can. That's the old brake booster, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna do like a Presto. The master cylinder doesn't fit on the booster I installed. Hyundai Elantra. Customer brought this Hyundai Elantra in. He wants a clutch. Got free play. Clutch releases around here. Feels good. I said, who looked at it? They said nobody. Customer just wants a clutch. Don't want to hear anything about it. So I said, what's the symptom? I don't know. Customer wants a clutch. Okay. Put a clutch in for him. If you want a clutch, you get a clutch. We'll see what happens. GMC van. GMC van's charging. Customer put an alternator in because it wasn't charging. 148,000 miles, 2017. It's got a P0622 code for F terminal, F circuit, and I wiggled the wire and the circuit jumped up on my graph. So I'll see if I can go in here and duplicate it again. It's a gray wire right back there on top of the alternator. There's only 2 wires, gray and orange. So I'm going to try to wiggle it again and see if I can get my my graph to work. See how it jumps up? When I wiggle the wires, this has got a broken wire inside the harness. One of the ways you can test that is grab that wire and give it a little stretch, and I can pull the plastic. So I know the copper's broken inside. I know the copper's broken inside that wire. But now his alternator light stays out if I get it to glitch and get a good connection. So this GMC is going to need a 2-wire alternator connector. Oh yeah. Down there right now, make a new video. Alright, the first step in this flywheel is done. I had to take 8 thousandths off the bottom to get it flat. So now I have to take 8 thousandths off the top step to keep the clutch gap the same. Easy peasy. New clutch going in. New release bearing. Still working the rack. Halfway, 10:30. Uh-oh. That's not supposed to do that. Can't understand what went wrong. Sweet Jaguar XL8, also known in the repair industry as jump. More Euro trash. Weather strip is coming apart. This is a 2012 750 IL BMW, 160,000 miles. Another 10-year-old European car. It's got a got the headlight malfunction warning on, the TPMS system malfunction warning on. It's leaking oil and it's leaking coolant, and he's hoping it's not going to be expensive to fix. No, seriously, customer said that. It's not going to cost a lot of money, is it? It's a 7 Series BMW, dude. It's never less than $2,000. You're having a good day if you bring your 7 Series BMW in and get an estimate under $2 grand. Good choice. Look at that conglomeration of monstrosityness. Is that even a word, monstrosityness? I don't know. Looks like someone's been working on it a little bit. Valve cover gaskets already look like they're leaking a little. I'm gonna have to lift it up and look from the bottom. Alright, I'll try to narrow this leak down, but I don't know. What's not leaking? I mean, I could basically sell them an engine reseal and cover all the bases. Then I know I won't have to hear about a comeback. Everything has got traces of oil on it. The freaking cooling fan has oil on it. So there's oil gushing out of the oil pan sensor. The crank sensor's leaking oil out of it. Oil filter housing, valve cover gaskets. I mean, the oil on the exhaust manifold, the only thing above it is the valve cover gaskets. So maybe we'll start there and let them know there's going to be other oil leaks after we fix the valve cover. Feeling kind of sad. My little snap-on lights on the Fritz. You just touch the button. It does all kinds of weird stuff. I'm not clicking it. Just touch it. It's actually on right now. Oh, that makes me sad. The old snappy lights on the Fritzeroonie. Button's going bad or something. I bought this light probably 3 years ago, and I've used it probably, I would say, less than 5 hours altogether, because I usually my other lights first, so it's like $79 down the tubes. Friday's not starting out so great, folks. Just be glad you're not here. We're gonna turn it around though. We're gonna find a way to make it work. That's what we do. All right, they gave me a Hyundai Sonata to put washer nozzles in, but the washer nozzles didn't fix it. So then I had to do a diagnosis and figure out why they wanted to put washer nozzles in it. It had a bad washer pump. So then they ordered me a washer pump, but it was the wrong one. So then I sent back that washer pump and we ordered the right washer pump, and now I'm waiting for that washer pump to get here. The customer's really chatty too. He likes to follow me around the shop and stand in my way while I'm trying to figure things out on his car. But nice guy, but real chatty. Doesn't have a lot of friends probably. Wants to be friends with a mechanic. But anyway, so they gave me this 2015 Dodge Ram 3500. It's got check engine light on, and the customer says they think it needs a regen or something, but it doesn't say anything about regen. It does have a picture of the turbo boost dealie, so it may very well be the case. We'll see what the codes are with the old Modus Edge, and then we'll go from there. So the 7 Series BMW, we wrote him a $3,000 estimate for valve cover gaskets. It's 14 and a half hours labor to do valve cover gaskets on a 7 Series BMW. And you need to pull the direct injectors out, and a whole bunch of other things have to come out of the way. So you got to reseal all the injectors, and some of the bolts have to be replaced and not reusable. You need like 4 or 5 special tools and stuff, it says. And even the coil tubes, it says you have to replace them when you take the valve covers off. I don't know why. I haven't done a 7 Series before. I mean, obviously I make things work and figure it out anyway, but I'm not sure why it says you have to replace those coil tubes. Kind of weird. I told them that we're probably gonna need to sell them just to be sure until I've done it. I don't know if they really have to be replaced or if they just say that, because there's plenty of times where some of these jobs you don't have to do everything they're telling you have to replace, and it comes out just as good. But anyway, let's go ahead and scan these codes, see what we got in this Dodge Raminator. Code scan. I'm gonna go ahead and check all the codes. Pre-scan. I have not made repairs yet. Reductant pressure too low. That tells me that the DPFE fluid pump or a sensor or something like that's going on. We're gonna go ahead and see what we can figure out with that thing. P20E8. We'll see what we can find out, and we'll get back. Sometimes you turn the volume up on people's radios just to see what they listen to.
Because you have put yourself first instead of somebody else. And he said, this night, not some other night, this night, thy soul shall be required of thee. And that's the very thing that you plan.
Interesting. All right, that little light just means he has the engine brake set on right here. So engine braking helps the mechanical brakes, hydraulic brakes, whatever. The DPFE code P208E is the pressure pump normally in the DPFE tank. Of course, when you go into the service bulletin and look up that code, the first thing it says is make sure it has up-to-date software, because there's a bunch of software updates for these Rams. There's like 30 codes that they just update the computer for instead, I guess, to broaden the window before it flags problems. And you know, normally what they do, almost all of these trouble codes these cars have, they're all mileage based. So the software is designed that as the mileage increases, it broadens the parameters before it'll give you a check engine light. So that's probably what the software update is, to make it tolerate slight abnormalities as the mileage goes up. So 178,000 miles, which for a diesel truck allegedly is nothing. It's supposed to do 500,000 plus miles. Anyway, so I'm going to check to see what the software revision is on this thing, and if it doesn't have the latest software, we're going to have to do an update and then go from there. I am going to take a quick look at the pump pressure. A lot of people are seeing bad pumps. It's supposed to be about 80 psi plus, I believe, on this one. A lot of people are seeing 15, 20 psi, so it sets this code as well. So it's one of those things, software or low pump pressure or a sensor. I'm gonna jump into it right here. Yep, diesel exhaust fluid 7.3. This is abbreviated on the Snap-on scanner, so you have to look up at the top. Diesel exhaust fluid line pressure PSI 7.3. It's supposed to be much higher than that. Now it's gonna want me to test the fluid, make sure it's not contaminated, to make sure that didn't damage the pump. And we'll have to go from there. Diesel drivability. We don't do these anymore, the boss said about 6 months ago, but he hasn't turned one away since. We do a lot of diesel drivability for a shop that doesn't do any anymore because we lost money on one of them. We did some work on one and told the customer that the engine was getting weak, but we could do some of these things to make it run a little better. It had low compression on the cylinder. And I guess it was like 3 months later that the engine basically gave up on that cylinder. The customer wanted his $3,000 back or whatever it was we charged him. So he said, we're not doing any more drivability. You guys don't know what you're doing. I said, well, I recommended an engine. Anyway, so this is like probably, you know, we only work on 3 or 4 of them a month. It's not really a lot considering we don't do them anymore. I have to start looking into opening my own shop. I think I'm getting pretty tired of the nonsense. Today's been all hot rods, classic cars, monster trucks, European exotics, and windshield washer job that someone sold the wrong stuff, so I did a free diag on it. So it's getting a little frustrating. It's a little after 11 o'clock. I think I've made 2 hours labor so far today, so not looking good this week. Keep rowing. I hear banjos. Customer's selling it. Someone wants to buy it, only 50 grand. Well, she said 50 grand plus whatever our bill is. So 55,000. Top is up on the Rambler. Carb is on. See it in there. Oh, look at that brand new carburetor. Runs like a champ. Top worked out good. It's a little wrinkly. I cleaned the whole interior, the seats and everything. They were full of dirt from sitting here in the shop for 2 or 3 weeks without the top up. So I cleaned everything off a little bit. Put new points and condenser in it. Runs good. Let's fire it up. Yeah, see how smooth these old cars used to run. It's a shame they don't make a lot of straight 6s anymore except BMW, but it's got exhaust leaks, but runs pretty damn smooth. After it runs a little while, the exhaust leaks get a little quieter, but I'm gonna sell a a DPFE pump, and we're going to test the fluid while we're doing the pump. The pump's definitely damaged. You got to see if it's got the right fluid. This one, they I wish I would have caught that before I put it in. I assumed that we were getting the part from the manufacturer that it would fit, but it doesn't. So, we got a whole pile of European exotics out here. Obviously the Mustang, the Ford Lemon, can't get a computer for the Mitsubishi. Guy with the Porsche doesn't want to spend any money. Lady with the BMW doesn't have any money. Mercedes needs an engine, they don't have any money. So finishing off Friday strong, cleaning up the messes, putting cars out in the grass as required. Got the classics just about all out of here. We'll see what kind of Fiasco they come up with next. Another broken Honda. Looks like the belt came off. I started putting new belt on already. Everything looks all right. I think it's just been neglected. It's about a quart low on oil. That's what's left of the belt. So, you know, these Hondas not very reliable. Got it towed in by AAA. Well, that sucks, trying to get this belt on. I felt a crack. And I'm like, oh, my new gear wrench extended ratchet broke. And I'm like, oh shit, no, it's my snap-on 19mm socket. My gear wrench ratchet broke my snap-on socket. That says a lot. Bummer. The belt tension is really hard to move. It might need a belt tension. And that tension is tight. You can see where the socket did some damage on that adjuster nut. But I got the belt on it. He's from out of town. He says he needs to get home. So we're going to try to get him on the road without a tensioner today. 186,000 miles. Check engine light on. TPMS light on. He's heading home, it looks like. Probably come in a week or two from now wanting something else, and never really was from out of town.
Like the Orlando one, except it's in Melbourne.
Well, they said though a lot less.
Where's Jimmy go?
A lot less people. When you go to the gun thing, there's like 2 tables of guns, and the rest were arts and crafts.
All right, guys, we're finishing up the week. Episode 21.
I hope that cream works for your anus, Jimmy.
That's Joe. We're finishing up episode 21. The really odd week. Last week, Katie's here, so she's out here. She's gonna be missed. She's gonna do really well over there. But she'll be running that place in a couple of years. But anyway, odd week. Got diesel trucks and Reapers and classic cars, and you know, the 39 Chevy you guys saw, the 62 Rambler I got done. Put the clutch in the Mitsubishi. We had a problem with it where the pressure plate's not fully releasing from the disc, even with the clutch pedal adjusted right. But you push the clutch all the way to the floor, it won't go into gear without. So it's something's not right. The clutch disc is too thick. The pressure plate fingers are soft, not fully releasing the clutch, causing it to be a little hard to get into first, and it give it like going into reverse no matter how you adjust it. So that thing's have to come back apart. The boss was thinking I did something wrong, of course. It can't possibly be defective parts. So we're going to take it apart. He wants to order a clutch fork. I'm like, the fork is cast iron, but he doesn't want to hear it. He wants to waste time, and we had to go around in circles today. I explained it to him about 5 times because he doesn't understand what I'm talking about. But he knows I did it wrong. He just doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, bringing this week to a close. A little bit interesting. It was busy, but it wasn't productive. Kind of a shame. Makes me a little depressed, but we're gonna fire this week to a close with a big detonation, and try to have a good weekend. I hope you guys are too. Monday we'll start episode 22, a week in the shop. And we will have some maybe we'll have some more interesting stuff next week. I'll be taking the transmission back out of that Mitsubishi on Monday. That's not going to be that interesting. Hope you enjoyed it and got something out of the video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure to click that bell notification, like and subscribe if you haven't yet. It's really appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.